at the start of the war, and we fought through all the major battles all the way through 1865. We followed General Lee all the way to Appomattox. With the 1st North Carolina, there was only 3 that made their way to Appomattox with General Lee, one of which was a preacher with our unit. We are cavalry, dismounted cavalry. We carry 2 primary weapons. One would be our carbine and our revolver. Revolver, if you notice on this model here, you have the brass frame. This indicates that it's Confederate manufactured. This was manufactured in the South. Steel was a very limited commodity for us, so we would use brass any way we could. We would collect weapons from prisoners of war. We would collect weapons off of the battlefield. That way, the more weapons we would have, the more we could have effect on the enemy. So we would typically have 1 or 2 revolvers attached to us, maybe 1 or 2 revolvers attached to the horse. We may even have another revolver or 2 on our shoulders, maybe 1 tucked back here. As soon as we can shoot the 6 rounds, we have really no way of reloading and effectively applying force to the enemy. So we would switch weapons and continue on our carbines at the same time. We didn't use these while we were mounted on horseback. These were used for ground effect. We were the eyes and ears of the Army. We were raiders, so we would take over supply depots, when out of the land, the enemy, their forces, their strengths, weaknesses, that sort of thing. Rapid deployment to fill in gaps, typically on left and right flanks. That's usually where our armies were the weakest, and we would oppose the enemy. What we'll do now is I'll just go ahead and have my guys give a quick firing demonstration for you. And carry arms, load cap and come to the ready. Aim. Fire! Try to clear.
See what happened just
There
then?
we go.
That blew the bottom of his, that blew it up. That happened. Thank you, gentlemen.
March.
Or afternoon, I should say. It's almost evening.
Good morning.
I'm First Sergeant Stone of the 69th New York, 1st Regiment of the Irish Brigade. Behind me we have a mixture of Union troops that fought in the Civil War. We're just going to go over firing the types of rifles to the weapons that we used at the time. Now, the Confederates, of course, they were using cavalry and dragoon types of weapons. These were infantry weapons. Notice the longer shape of the rifle. This is an 1861 Springfield, made in Springfield, Massachusetts, types of rifles that we would have used. Now, this was new technology because there was rifled barrels for these rifles. Before they were just smoothbore, usually fired a round bullet. There was grooves in the inside of these barrels, and they fired a concave bullet, which is about what you would know as a football cut in half. It's about that shape. It was modern, first modern style bullet that was being made. I'm going to go over how these weapons were fired and about what their accuracy was. So there was 9 distinct steps in loading these weapons. It was known as load in 9 times. And the steps would go: company, handle, cartridge. Reach into the cartridge pouch, get one. They got a paper cartridge. In this cartridge, about 70 grains of black powder in the bottom. There'd be a lead bullet on top. Next step. So that was step 1, handle cartridge. Step 2, tear cartridge, bite on the bullet. That's where the term bite the bullet comes from. Tear the cartridge. Does it expose the powder? Charge cartridge is step 3, pour the powder down the barrel. Then you take the bullet from your mouth, place it on top. Spring rammer, step 4. Ram cartridge, ram the whole thing down to the bottom, make sure it's seated. Return rammer, next step. Now you want to make sure you return that rammer because this is what loaded the weapon. Some people would load their rammer, forget to put it back, they fire it, then you would not be able to fire this weapon. You'd have to get another one from someone else, and in the middle of battle you don't want to make that mistake. Next step, prime. Bring the rifle up. There's a brass percussion cap that we put on this little piece, which is called the nipple. It's basically just a cylinder tube that goes into the bottom of the barrel here. Inside these little brass cartridges, there's a little bit of mercury. When you hit it, it would create a spark that would ignite the powder and shoot the bullet. So step, prime. Weapon is now loaded, ready to fire. It's on half cock. So what we do is we go back to the shoulder when we're loaded, and then the command would come, company ready, go to the ready position, aim, fire, turn. Now those are 9 distinct steps that they would have to know and learn, and they would do it in a company like this. I'm going to have them load and show you how it's done. Company, attention. Whoa. Control the cartridge. Turn the cartridge. Load up the musket. Priming the rifle. Come to the shoulder when you're ready. Company, ready. Aim! Fire! Recover, arms. Shoulder, arms, low. Now while they were doing this, they had to memorize this. All the while, they'd be having the enemy shooting back at them the same way. Bullets would be flying, men were getting hit, horses were getting hit and dying. You have all this noise and confusion, so you can see why they had to memorize these steps, because it was easy to lose track of what you're doing, and sometimes someone would load around, not realize that they had loaded because they would hear something, an explosion would go off, they'd get distracted and they think, I need to load my rifle, and they'd load another round on top of that, so they'd have 2 bullets down there. Well, if you have 2 bullets, there's a good chance that when that goes off and you fire, it's either going to explode or it's not going to go off at all. And that was even worse, because if it didn't go off at all, you would think you fired and you would keep loading. In one of the battles during the Civil War, a rifle was found afterwards completely clogged. When they cut the rifle open to see what was inside, they found 10 rounds loaded up in the barrel, never fired a shot. Company. Hey! All right! Load. So now you can, as you're loading, you can use. Fire! Cover on, water on. Any questions?
That's exactly what it was.
Right there. Forward. Up.
We are Legion Irlandais, or in English, Napoleon's Irish Legion. We were formed from refugees from the 1798 rebellion in Ireland, trying to win our independence. Fled to France after the failed rebellion. Napoleon recruited us, trained us, and equipped us to go back into Ireland to try and tie up British forces. Everything was going fine until the small naval battle of Trafalgar got in the way and destroyed the French Navy. Hence, not being able to get across the channel, Napoleon decided, okay, I will send you to Spain and fight the English there. As such, we were stationed outside of Madrid, Spain, when Napoleon removed the King of Spain from power, put his brother on the throne. The citizens of Madrid didn't like that idea and attacked several French officers and soldiers that were found to be in town. We were sent in to put down the revolt and proceeded to change Spanish influence from favoring the French to favoring the English. And we spent the next 4 or 5 years fighting the British, Spaniards, and Portuguese on the peninsula. What I have here, myself and two others of my company with me, will be giving our firing demonstration. We are using 1777 model Charleville flintlock muskets, having a flint and prison to fire the musket. Step to the right. Load. Grab cartridge. Prime. What we do is we pull a little, clear our cartridge, pour a little bit of powder from the cartridge into the pan of the musket. Charge. Musket. Aim. Fire. Recover. Arm. Load at your own time. Aim. Fire. Recover. Arm. Oh. Now these muskets, as our as the Union soldiers had said, were accurate out to maybe 60 yards, which was typical for most Napoleonic era battles. The muskets we can load them up to 4 times a minute. If we're lucky, 3 was about average. The British soldiers were trained to fire 2 shots a minute. So if we were able to, the forces that were able to expend the quicker amount of shots on the enemy, usually one day, but not always.